was pretty much all England. Pakistan have managed 137 in the first innings of the final of the T20 World Cup. They limped their way to it. 4 wickets for 18 runs in the last 4 overs. Just the one boundary, that too a fortuitous one, of Chris Jordan in that final 20th over. Sam Curran and Adil Rashid wreaking havoc at different phases in that innings. So we look back at it and look back at what certainly seems to be advantage England in this T20 World Cup final. On Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout. We'll hear shortly from Urooj, Mumtaz and Stephen Fleming. Before that, Anil, Kumble and Tom Moody in studio with me. How would you sum that innings up, Tom? It looked like England pretty much dominated it.
Yeah, they did. Their innings, Pakistan's innings, just fell away as soon as Adil Rashid was introduced.
Yes.
They had a steady start. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary, but they built a solid base. But from there, it just went pear-shaped, and that was really down to, I felt, the introduction of spin, and particularly Adil Rashid, where the Pakistan top order looked at absolute sea to what he was bowling. So credit to him, because he judged the pace he needed to bowl on that surface. He used his wrong on very cleverly and just outplayed them.
2 for 22 for Rashid, the wicket maiden in a World Cup final, Anil, and fair to say now he's had a big imprint on the semi and the final whenever he's come on to bowl.
Yeah, massive. I think the conditions were totally different to Adelaide, to Melbourne. He assessed the conditions really well, bowled really slow. There was turn on offer, and he outfoxed Babar Azam again. I don't think he picked the googly, nor did Iftikhar. I think initially the first 6 balls really Iftikhar was struggling, and then Iftikhar got out to Ben Stokes later. But again, Harris getting out to Rashid 2 for 22 was fantastic in a final.
What's he doing right that's making him so hard to take down as a leg spinner? Anil?
No, the control. I think the control that he has. He never bowled a short ball. The control and the spin that was on offer, he used that. The pace at which he bowled, it's not easy when you're pulling back your pace, not your natural rhythm pace that you're bowling, but you're bowling slightly slower because of the conditions. And because the grounds are bigger, he tossed it up, and like I mentioned, he controlled brilliantly, and it was fantastic to watch him.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't sure if Pakistan were off to a decent start or a steady start, Urooj, and then Adil Rashid came on and it looked like things were just going south from there. We brought up the weakness against leg spin for Babar. Does it surprise you? A player of such high quality, looks like he's completely bamboozled by the googly. He's probably picked it off the surface and it went downhill from there, didn't it?
Yeah, spun a web, didn't he, Adil Rashid? I think a great player risen to the great occasion in the final. And the term that was used at commentary was awkward, and I felt it was because Babar didn't pick it. And he looked very awkward because in the end he just tried to force the ball wherever it ended up going. But Anil just made the point. I think Adil Rashid read the conditions. So did all the English bowlers, but he bowled much slower through the air, which probably got the ball to turn and grip a little bit more. It's something that is done, but it probably went all south from there because there was a good partnership brewing with Shan and Babar. And in particular, I thought Shan played extremely well. He gave himself room and he opened the vast square outfield and ran extremely well where the boundaries were not easy to come. But once Babar went, it was just no building because they picked up wickets at regular intervals, used the conditions and the surface extremely well at the English bowlers.
Flem, that's 2 formidable teams or 2 strong batting units now that have failed to have the answers against Adil Rashid in 2 big games in a World Cup. There's preparation, I'm sure, where you go, okay, we know Rashid's going to come on, this is what he's going to do, this is how we're going to take them down. I'm sure there's a plan A and plan B, but nothing seems to be working. Could you explain that?
Well, no, I can't. He bowled pretty well. I'm more concentrating on the fact that, yeah, he played a part, but that 121-4 in 16 overs, there's enough in that wicket to suggest that a 165 score is going to be a real good challenge. There was inconsistent bounce, there was a little bit of movement on offer, and it was turning. So that was the thing about Rashid, it was turning. He found the pace. So as a unit, you should be saying, well, hey, we've got some artillery here. We know that we just need to get a score on the board and we will be competitive. The fact the last 4 overs went for 16 runs, I think that's a massive mistake. 4 down, 121, even at 10 to get to 161, 11, have one good over, and you're up to 165, which I think is more than competitive given what we've seen, especially given the turn, which was unexpected, and that little bit that's on offer for probably a quicker, more skillful pace attack. So yeah, there was a lot going on up to that point, but I think Pakistan have missed a massive trick here. Our teams often go to the MCG and they think traditional method, we'll get to 16 overs, then we'll whack ourselves 15 runs and over and we'll get a great score. The MCG is not that ground. Now, if there's any research that should have been done is on how to finish off an innings. The ones and twos that were so good all the way through the innings, they disappeared and all of a sudden it was trying to hit it out of the ground over 85-metre boundaries, and that just doesn't work. Livingston's there just picking it off. So I reckon it was it just wasn't smart the last 4 overs, and it could cost them because the score of 165 was easily there.
Interesting that Flem says that, Tom, that they almost lost the plan or lost sight of the plan after the last 4. Now, are we looking at giving credit to Jordan and Sam Curran, or does that look like almost a self-destruct button from how Pakistan have finished that innings?
I think you've got to give the bowlers credit. At the end of the day, all they can do is, use the varieties, bowl the right lengths in the conditions that are presented. But I agree with Flem in that we saw Shan Masood, show the way to how to score runs at the MCG. His running between the wickets was superb. The twos that he ran, the pressure he put on the outfield, that didn't really need to change. I think it was in the 12th over, Bubba was dismissed, and from then onwards, it just went south, where they seemed to lose sight of how to accumulate runs and get to that 160, 165 that Flem's talking about. And in a total of 120 balls, and you're only scoring, I think it was 6 fours and 2 sixes. I think that shows more than anything. It shows that no one really else got in on that surface to be able to, in those last 4 overs, maybe pick off a few boundaries. It was a pretty disappointing finish for Pakistan. They should be more than what they've got. So it's really down to just some poor management with their batting in the back 10 overs.
Yeah, a total of 8 fours and 2 sixes in that innings. Now, did it call for the wrong personnel at that time, or was it just bad luck that Shan Masood was dismissed at the time, Anil, or is that down to a poor plan towards the end?
Yeah, I think, like Flem mentioned, probably they were thinking boundaries and sixes, and that's what you sort of are tuned to in that last 4 overs. And I think Shan Masood getting out at that time certainly put pressure back on Pakistan, because he was someone who looked comfortable and he was in control of his scoring, and that's something that I didn't see even Babar, although Babar batted well till the time that he got out. Shan Masood looked in better control of the proceedings in terms of how he wanted to maneuver the bowling, and that's something, once he got out, put pressure back on Pakistan batters, and they only looked for boundaries which never came there.
Yeah, we must, of course, mention Sam Curran. What an excellent tournament he's had, Flem. That just caps off what's been a brilliant tournament in a tough role that a bowler is given, and Sam Curran seems to have had the tournament of his life.
Yeah, it just seems he's very unpredictable. He's got his change-ups working. He's got, I think they called it a wobble ball and then a swing ball, but what he's doing with each delivery is putting it right in the spot. So he is very accurate with his options, and he's mastering the variation. So he's in front of the game. Sometimes comes with confidence. Another day, some of those deliveries could go. But on the big boundaries in Australia, we've seen the benefit of hitting a length and then using width. And he was very hard to get a read on, very hard for the batsman to get any rhythm on. And that's been his trend all the way through. So he's done it very well.
How much are we willing to go up for him on the 23rd then, Flem, for Sam Curran?
Is he in the auction, is he?
Assuming he is.
I don't know. I think he's passed. I think he's passed. Yeah, I think he's passed his peak. He actually looked a bit tired to me. I don't know if the form will continue, to be honest. Yeah. I wouldn't pay much. I wouldn't pay much for him.
Just keep your paddle up.
All right, Urooj, in all seriousness, can they make a fight out of this? Is there anything that Pakistan can take from that? It didn't look like batting was easy. So are they still in it, and what do they need to get right?
Yeah, if I think anyone can take the fight to this final, is Pakistan's bowling. I think they've got their work cut out. England showed them exactly the way to bowl on these wickets. I think Shine should still stick to his strength and pitch the ball up to look for any movement. Ben Stokes got the ball to just got a hint of movement earlier on. Shadab will again be key. He'll have to probably pull his length back slightly, maybe bowl slower. but it's going to be a tough ask. They'll have to get the first couple of wickets for England, and then it's an open field considering England's depth with the bat as well. Just feel Pakistan at least 15 short here.
Are we expecting something similar to what we saw against India, Tom, with Butler and Hales?
Well, we're in for a treat if we get a batting masterclass like that. But I think it'll be harder than that. I think Pakistan will make some inroads, but England should chase this down comfortably.
Anil, easy for England?
I mean, I think they should chase it down. The only way that Pakistan can put pressure on them is if they put England down to 70 for 5 or something. That's the only way.
Okay, Flem, you were the only one who got your prediction right. One between 130 and 180. So you're the only one whose opinion I actually consider. So what's going to happen here?
Yeah, it's been a trend throughout the tournament. I think that they will do it. But Hale's release shot, the sweep shot that he played so well in Adelaide, might be a bit more difficult. So I think there will be more pressure at the top, which will be a good test on England's philosophy. They've got the depth to get this score, but I think there will be some interesting spells early on and then the spin. So there's still enough there to have intrigue, but I think England is just too deep for this one to be a scare.
All right, fair enough. In which case, we will have quite the conversation if England are to become T20 World Cup champions to go with their 50-over crown, or will Pakistan give us one of the great defences of what looks like a below-par total in this tournament's history? We'll have our champions, we'll have our result, we'll have our conversation on what will be our last live show of this tournament. So do join us then with Stephen Fleming, Urooj, Mumtaz, Tom Moody and Anil Kumble from Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout.